Okay, here we have a 2009 Toyota Corolla. Was on the recall list. The paperwork came in. It's my father's car. He didn't bring it back for the recalls. My mother has a car too. My mother has a Camry, and she got the recall paperwork. And I always figured that her car would be the car that would have a problem. If one of these cars had a problem. They've been a Toyota family ever since 1987. Every car has been a Toyota. My mother brought her car in for the floor mat recall, and the other, I guess, the software flash. But my dad didn't bring this car in. Yesterday he got in this car. He was parked over here in this parking lot. He put the car in reverse, and he says he feels he stepped on the gas or something, or he mistook the pedal somehow, and he wound up being in between that white car and another black SUV. Hit him. One car hit one side, the SUV was one side, and the white car was on the other side. He hit in between both of the cars. Wasn't taken back on the recall. But you can see this is where the floor mat was, where we got back and looked at it. You know, the floor mat's right where it's supposed to be. The floor mat didn't move anywhere. I called the junkyard. I just got back from the auto body shop. I called the junkyard because these guys, they have a lot of stuff. I said, could you find a bumper cover? Could you find two taillight two lenses, two sets of, one set of taillights? They said, did you just call? Did you just call her late last week? I said, no. They said, a woman just called us late last week asking for the same parts, saying the same thing just happened. They claim they brought in NASA engineers or 3 weeks ago. They brought in NASA engineers. They went over the computers and said it's impossible for the cars to take off on their own. Well, the same time, while that was happening here in New Jersey, another guy put his car in drive. It took off, and his throttle stuck. And he got some momentum with scientists and engineers and the government, and they just hit Toyota with a fine that was never imposed on any company before. $16.4 million for one of these cars. The throttle return spring wouldn't snap the throttle back quickly. So the guy felt that his car, that happened to his car. That's why his car took off. And the government got behind, found out that Toyota was withholding information about that spring, and they hit Toyota with a $16.4 million fine. So my father told the police. My father said I stepped on the gas, which I was there. I said, Dad, that's not like you. But now the police have it down as, I don't know, maybe they probably have it down as just somebody who admitted to stepping on the wrong pedal. But it's just too much. I was waiting for my mother's car to take off and hit something, but it's just too much. So they say there's billions of dollars in litigation over these cars. There's just too many accidents, like the Saab 9000. When it was all said and done, 1 in 10 of them was on a police record as having taken off and hit something. The old late 80s and 90s Saabs. But that's it. Toyota sudden acceleration, a car that wasn't brought back for the recall. Don't know. Called the junkyard. They said, did you just call? Somebody just called up looking for the same parts last week when their car took off on them. That's that.